Hello, friends. This is John Clan Third of episode 153 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review X-Men and Spider-Man issue 4, written by Christos Gage, artist Mario Alberti, letters Jared K. Fletcher, assistant editor Thomas Brennan, editor Stephen Wacker, editor-in-chief Joe Quesada, publisher Dan Buckley, and special thanks to Pablo Ormella. And this issue is dedicated to Antonio Alberti, I believe is the father of Mario Alberti. And this comic came out in April 2009, which means we get a handy previously on years ago. X-Men, Spider-Man, the original X-Men teamed up to fight Kraven and the Blob. This was no chance encounter, but secretly is set up by Mr. Sinister to get the X-Men's respective DNA, as of course it is. Years later, Spider-Man and a team of X-Men, Storm, Dazzler, Kitty Pryde, and Wolverine. Oh, is Kitty referenced in issue two? Because I checked and she was not in that issue. Okay, I checked fandom and I checked just the issue itself, and it mistakenly wrote Kitty Pryde when it's actually Rogue that's in that comic. And in the flashback to the Mutant Massacre, they only show Kurt and not Kitty at all. So that is a misprint. Um, but yeah. Fought Sinister's Marauders in the height of the Mutant Massacre and found a secret lab full of twisted clones of the original X-Men. Soon after that, another clone, Ben Reilly, clone of Spider-Man, the best Spider-Man, teamed with the X-Men to stop Sinister from breaking loose from the murderous symbiote Carnage. Although Carnage was recaptured, Sinister had what he sought, the final components for a new weapon. And what was that weapon? Or is it not a question of what, but rather who? Color me intrigued. Recently, so this takes place after M Day, and so some mutants have lost their powers. This one guy did lose his powers, but the Morlocks have been cool by letting him live with them because once a mutant, always a mutant. And we see one of the mutants is Morlocks is being hunted by a guy that looks like Bugman from the Ninja Turtles animated series, the 87 one. And turns out it is a Kraven the Hunter clone, very much in the style of Sinister, but instead of a red diamond on his head, it's just a gray one. And he's all sorts of shades of gray, but not 50 shades. And we cut to the X Mansion, and the X-Men in this issue are Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, the boy one, Colossus, and the best one, Kitty Pryde. So it's a mix of astonishing X-Men, but instead of Emma, we get Kurt, which I guess is a fair enough trade. And so he describes a person who they think is vaguely Craven-like, and Colossus is like, but Kraven the Hunter is dead. And Kitty's quick to say, so were you, Peter. And it's not as if we know much about the guy. And then Scott turns to Logan, a very fun moment, like, well, you've been hanging out with him. Can you call him? And Logan's quick to be like, geez, let it go, will ya? I'm not married to him or you. And Kitty says, but you know how to get in touch with him. And Cyclops is like, we need Spider-Man. As Spider-Man surprises Kurt, we were both raw calling. And for some reason, Colossus is consoling Kitty, but because they get to Bugman and his head has been removed. So that's not good. And Spider-Man's happy to see the X-Men, but not under these circumstances. He confirms Kraven's super dead, but he has a bunch of children running around. In the back of the mansion, Kitty or Scott and Spider-Man are chit-chatting about the previous three issues, where Kitty chimes in with, "At the risk of you old guys telling me to get off your lawn, can I successfully forget the good old days until the bad new ones are dealt with?" And Scott, apologizes for um, reminiscing at a time like this, and the good old days were not as, four colored as they let on. And then the lights turn off. Kitty quick looks across the wing and says, "Looks like it's just this wing. There are lights on in the student quarters." And then they get attacked by the Sinister clone, and Kitty can't see. And Logan says that's not necessary as he charges at the clone. Um, but the Craven clone dodges, and then Colossus tries to attack him, but he gets stabbed even through the metal skin, drawing blood. And Kitty runs over like, "Peter, are you?" And he's like, "I'm fine." And then we have flashback to Craven or Sinister cloning this Craven, who on the next page dramatically calls himself X-Raven, which I think you're supposed to pronounce it as X-Raven, but it's not like you pronounce the K in Craven and go K-Raven. Raven? Raven? I don't know. I think you're supposed to just call him X-Raven. And he's going around trying to get people's DNA. And then Kurt bamps the two of them together, but um X-Raven has Beast's um agility and stamina, so he's not exhausted. And Kitty tries to run to Kurt, and X-Raven optic blasts everyone. And then Scott's quick to be like, "He has all of our powers." And he throws one of those Catwoman bolas, and it goes around Cyclops' neck. Then Kitty goes, "There's a nice secure cell a few doors down, your name all over," and starts phasing him down. And unfortunately, uh, he X-Raven shuts Kitty's brain down because he has Jean's telepathy, but not a lot of it, just enough to pause Kitty, which keeps her in a solid state. And so he's able to put a knife to her throat, and then everyone's like, all right, everybody." And then Scott remembers that in the past, Kraven the Hunter had a gigantic ego and did not like taunting, and so starts taunting the clone, who also does not like being taunted. And then because of all the sinister talk, Scott remembers Madeline Pryor in her Goblin Queen outfit, which I'm sure he thinks about quite often. Kitty, while ex-Raven's distracted, knees him in the groin, which hurts him. See, your own fault, jerk. I tried it the nice way, but no, you had to make me solid. And then he backhands her. And so he gets away. And Colossus consoles Kitty again. Then we get a two-page spread of just the previous issues, so that's fun. And then Spider-Man jokes about how all Wolverine knows how to do is burp the national anthem, which he's like, the Canadian national anthem. That takes skill. I imagine it does. And then we see X-Raven attacking Sinister. And the issue ends with Spider-Man saying, "But I say, bring it on together. There's nothing we can't handle because at what we do, we're the best there is." And then Logan teases him that that's not the expression either. And that, everyone, is X-Men and Spider-Man issue 4. And we're going to be doing a month of, well, not a month, a mini Kraven the Hunter as being an X-Men focused podcast with Kitty Pryde, Lockheed, and Magic. Um, Centric. I don't have that many Kraven the Hunters. So there's this one. Next week's is going to be, well, and then there's a two-parter for next week. That's going to be 1 week and then follow it in the next. So stay tuned. And if you want a visual medium, I should have said this in the beginning. You can go to my TikTok or YouTube at Jackal SIII and follow along there. And let's see. Speaking of following along, let's go to Marvel.com calendar and see what comics came out last week to remind ourselves. And I should mention, I'm going to put 4 images from this comic on the podcast's socials at SNFWM, both on Blue Sky and Instagram. So look forward to that. I gotta figure out which four I want, and then I gotta narrow it down to one image for the social media post I do on Mondays. Oh yeah, so Dazzler 3 came out, which was a fun team up as her world tour gets canceled. Lila Cheney tries to brighten Dazzler's day up by taking her to Tokyo ahead of her concert. And she's told by Wallflower to keep it low profile, but it's Lila Cheney and Dazzler. They're gonna have some fun. And it turns out Arcade, my favorite X-Men villain, and possibly favorite Marvel villain, because I can't think of a better one. Except for when he was he went hardcore. I was not or Edgelord. Well, both, I guess. And that's not the Arcade I recognize. And so they have some fun, but Tokyo cancels their tour and because of all the destruction, the wanton destruction. And so Lila sets her up with a concert at Madripoor. And I can imagine besides, you know, the hazards of Madripoor, but I bet she can have a residency in Madripoor and just have it be completely fine. So yeah. Oh, what else came out? Oh, Mystique th 2 came out, which I don't know. I have a hard time deciding if Dazzler or Mystique were better, but Mystique 2 continues Nick Fury Jr. Looking into Mystique and what she's up to. He continues to hit wall after wall with Maria Hill, the current director of Shield, where they just don't have the funding like they used to, nor should they have ever had the funding they used to. Like, I mean, how many helicarriers have to crash before you finally go like, hey, you don't get any more helicarriers? Um, and so there's intrigue there. She runs into Avalanche, who just has a cabin in the middle of a oh, in Montana actually, which I couldn't figure out where in Montana, but just snowy mountains. Which been very light in the snow this year, so I don't know when this takes place. Maybe in February. Anyway, so anyways, but there's a moment where I'm like, why does he have a cabin in the middle of not even the woods, just in the middle between two mountains? Like if anyone's looking for him, they're gonna be like that cabin there. And then she interrupts his solitude, and he's in his full uniform, so like that's weird. And she goes in disguised as Pyro, which he immediately is like, "You're not Pyro." And then he reveals that he had a secret affair with this lady during Freedom Force or Brotherhood era. And so that means he had two secret love affairs. And once he gets annoyed with her enough, he causes an avalanche and collapses the cabin, in snow. So then it proves that it's a genius plate location for a cabin hideout. And then Mystique gets herself out of there, and um, I don't know, it just makes you realize Mystique is an artist's character where the writer can be like, draw your favorite characters. I just need her to say these dialogues, and these actions. As she morphed into Wolverine at one point, and I don't know, spends a lot of time just changing characters. And then the issue ends with Nick Fury Jr. informant being Destiny. So clearly, Destiny and Mystique are working on something, and they're just wasting everyone's time. But until then, the mystery continues. So let's see what else came out this week or last week. Oh, Uncanny X-Men 6, Volume 7 by Gail Simone and Dylan artist Garon, Javier Garon. They kept the colorist, which I think is pretty nice. Like I like in a big crossover when they can maintain the same colorist so that, it gives that visual continuity. Excuse me, got some hiccups. Um, Talikio gets a great moment, Becca and Ember, um, where Ember time kicks Logan, who's still blind, so his healing factor is still taking a while to heal. And she denies she's a mutant until Gambit pulls her aside and goes, "Hey, mutants are cool. Like we're all here to, let you be mutants and proud." And then she totally embraces being a mutant. We learned that her mother was very helicopter parent, isolating her, giving her, corrupt thoughts, getting hired people fired just because they were kind to Becca. And so clearly she was lived a sheltered life, and she's slowly going to broaden her horizons. They go to a school where the principal shows the Midnight M symbol, but then also at the same time tells them to not use any of their powers, but they get bullied the whole time. And it's just like I'm pretty sure bullying happens, but also not drastically like this, like not like as horribly as an 80s, you know, movie will tell you. And also most schools have a zero bullying policy, and this kid is like, and he's a teenage jock, of course, and he like is this bullying, I'm bringing a friend to the principal, and the principal just shrugs and goes like, "Don't use your powers," where it's like you can do a lot more than that. Come on, principal. Um, and then lightly, but I'm sure it's not intended to be this way. Like Logan shows that he has a wine, like he's the last surviving member of yet another friend group of his. And so he wants to drink wine with Gambit and Rogue as celebratory. Um, and then Rogue shouts that he has PTSD, and everyone acts shocked. And I imagine it's shocked because of how loud she broadcasted it, but also, like of course Logan has PTSD. Like he's lived like at least 200 years. Like. I don't know. Seems silly. And then Jubilee and Becca get captured by Warden Ellis's goons. Actually, and then but before then, Nightcrawler rescues a mother or daughter by shoving the mother from being hit by a truck. But we see Warden Ellis's mutant team of Siren, Red Dukes and Toad, and then they take Jubilee. Then later, just her non-Sentinel crew takes Becca. And Ember's not allowed to go to school because he's not a lamb. And so that's all leading up to the X-Men, or I'm sorry, the Uncanny hyphen or backslash X-Men. It would have made more sense if I said X-Men Uncanny crossover, the attack of on Grey Malkin or raid on Grey Malkin. One of those. Something's happened in Gray Mocha. And oh yeah, West Coast Avengers had Firestar for a page and lots of Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew content. But so a decent start. Um so I imagine Firestar would be in it more. But um yeah. But for Firestar content it was pretty lacking. And then let's see what comes out this Wednesday. Um, all new Venom, so that's something. Oh, Avengers 21, which also has, before we have X-Men on X-Men violence, we're going to have Avengers on X-Men violence, so that's not great. Storm, of course, being put between the two of them, and then this is going to be 70s Beast, so I'm sure he's going to have a couple of thoughts, especially as you will be like, who are all these people? Um, Conquest 2099 that does have a Cyclops and Phoenix 2099. But besides that, been pretty missable. Deadpool Wolverine Weapon Extraction, clever title. Number one comes out. I'm sure that's missable. Oh, Marvel Holiday Tales to Astonish 1 comes out that promises to have a Kitty Pride short story in it. I so we will definitely review that this episode, but I don't know if it's gonna mainline the episode title or not, but we'll see. Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay 4 continue, or 3, the first three have yet to have X-Men content, so we'll see. MYX6 starting a new arc, this time with Mojo, so that's happening. Oh, Wolverine 4. which the cover shows him fighting Constrictor. So that's also happening. X-Force 6 has Forge fighting X's Mystique and Storm. So that should be fun. Hopefully it has a lot of Rachel and Betsy content. And then X-Men 8 has Rogue punching Cyclops, which for the record, Captain Marvel is punching Cyclops on that cover. Um, so the Marvel Holiday doesn't do it. X-Men 8 probably will, because Gail Simone posted the preview pages, and I was like, "Hey, how has it been to write Magic?" And she's like, "It's been a blast. I hate Jen McKay for, you know, having her on his team." So that was fun. Um, I don't know. One day it'd be nice to have Gail Simone follow me. She seems to follow a lot of people on Blue Sky and Twitter, but I don't know. It's like Gail Simone and Jonathan Loves X-Men, or like two accounts I would love to follow me because I love following them, but maybe one day they will do it. Maybe now that I put this thought into the universe, maybe it will happen. But they're probably, I don't know. I get the impression they're not annoyed by me, right? Or think about me anytime, but I don't know. I do seem to find my way into their threads and have comments to share, but also I don't know. When I post something, I always wish someone would comment on my things, and I'm like, oh, no one's commented. Let me comment. So I don't know. That's my rule with me invading all the threads on all the social medias. Which on Blue Sky, if you want to follow me, I'm at Jacko SIAI. I'm trying to do more and more on Blue Sky exclusively than I did on Twitter. So I still have like all this uploading content I have scheduled on Twitter, so I'm still there. But I'm not following it as hard as I used to. So yeah, so some comics, Marvel Holiday Special is gonna be number one for me. Then X-Men 2, X-Force 3. Oh, NYX 4, and the Avengers 21 at 5. That's my top five to look forward to. And then, Wolverine and Deadpool Wolverine weapon extraction is also options. So, oh, speaking of, well, we weren't, but talking about exclusive content, I've decided I'm doing this 25 days of on TikTok. I'm doing pretty much this issue Merry X-Men Holiday Special. Did a page a day, and so in a very clever move, I am posting a each page a day. And so tomorrow, because I'm recording this on December 1st, tomorrow will be December 2nd, and it's my favorite page of the whole issue with Kitty and Lockheed as they celebrate Hanukkah, and which I believe is too early by December 2nd, but anyways, Kitty got a page, Lockheed's on it. Get excited. And so, that's the episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and I will talk at you next time. All right, everyone. Bye.